Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. Today I'm going to talk about the story about this Ilan Pappe guy that was detained by these federal agents coming to the country to ask him about what his political views are. And it's this wild story that the purpose of talking about it is to try to get you to lose trust in the system, which we've talked about recently. So tomorrow we're going to talk about episode 8 of, I believe, of the Holocaust series, and we're going to talk about the census figures. They're wild. And then the next day, on Wednesday, we're going to talk about the Blood for Good story, which is ridiculous. And then on Thursday, we're going to do a villains episode about Adolf Eichmann, which is also ridiculous. And Victor will be for that one because that was pre-recorded. So this guy flies into the United States and he gets detained by federal agents. And they ask him all these different wild questions. So we're going to look at who is this guy, because this is just an amazing story. So according to Wikipedia, this guy was born in Haifa, Israel, and he's one of Israel's new historians. So when you go look at what new historians are, it says there are a loosely defined group of Israeli historians who have challenged traditional versions of Israeli history, including Israel's role in the 1948 Palestinian expulsion and flight and Arab willingness to discuss peace. So basically, there are people who tell the truth about the Nakba, which we've covered. I'll put a video in the description below if you haven't seen that one. Wild story in and of itself. And so the new historians are just Israelis who tell the truth, basically, right? So, yeah, since the release of pertinent British and Israeli documents in the early 1980s offered an unconventional view of Israel's establishment in 1948, the truth, and the corresponding exodus of 700,000 Palestinian Arabs from the land, also true. He has written that the expulsions were not decided on an ad hoc basis, as other historians have argued, but constituted a planned ethnic cleansing in accordance with Plan Dalet, which was drawn up in 1947 by Israel's future leaders. Okay, so we go to what is Plan Dalet, and we're just going to Wikipedia, easy. A Zionist military plan executed in the Civil War phase of the 1948 Palestine War for the conquest of territory in Mandatory Palestine in preparation for the establishment of a Jewish state. So you remember they declared their independence, and then a civil war erupted just with the Palestinians and the Israelis, right? Then they put into effect Plan Dalet, and I don't know how to pronounce that, and they moved to an offensive shift. It says, the plan was requested by the Jewish agency leader and later first-time Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, and developed by the Haganah, their military force, and finalized in 1948. Historians describe Plan Dalet, in which Zionist forces shifted to an offensive strategy as the beginning of a new phase in the 1948 Palestine War. So this is where they went and started the Nakba, which was so bad that all the adjacent, well, not every, but a lot of adjacent Arab countries then began the war, which is the Arab-Israeli War. And so of 1948. So basically he arrives in Michigan. After an 8-hour flight, he was pulled aside by agents who then started to question him. He says, they asked me bizarre questions such as, do I think the action of Israel in Gaza is genocide? What do I think about Hamas? Who are my Arab and Muslim friends in the Detroit area? Now look, the guy has a passport and he's trying to come into the country, and they're trying to say, should we let you into our country or not? Based on, do you think that the action of Israel in Gaza is genocide? The answer is hard yes. Of course it is. If you say that, are you not allowed in the country? Now, he's an Israeli, so I'm not talking about an American. That would be even worse if it was an American being disallowed from coming in the country. No, he wasn't disallowed. They did let him in. He said, I was too tired to understand, and maybe I didn't have to answer the question. I wasn't sure, but I did. The worst thing for me, they took my phone and copied everything on it because they don't like his views about a foreign country that's committing a genocide right now. Just my point is, it goes back to the loss of trust in the system. Just you can't expect that there's going to be a solution within the system. And this is just another story that just points out how ridiculous that idea is. The guy's 69 years old. He said that during questioning, he sometimes referred the agents to books he has written. Just read my books. Because obviously, it's like if you want to ask me my views, just look at the YouTube channel, or Rumble channel, whatever. At one point, the agents were on the phone with someone for a long time, he said. He said he was eventually released after about 2 hours, and they returned his phone to him. Now, in other articles, it says that he was on the phone with Israel. He was talking to Israel, the agents were. And he doesn't say what agency that these federal agents are from. But in other articles, it says the FBI, but I'm not sure that they actually know that. And then he says, I still don't understand exactly why they did it, but it's obviously that I was treated like someone who endangers American national security. I hope to get some explanation from them later. Why was it done? So this is just absurd. if you have the wrong views, you might not be let into this country. Anyways, I just wanted to, maybe you even heard the story before, but I just wanted to cover it from a loss of trust angle. This is how it should be viewed, in my opinion. So tomorrow, we'll be doing the Holocaust Part 8, the census figures, and it's ridiculous. I didn't even cover them before, but they're so interesting. And so I hope to see you then.